Louder, louder. He likes it really loud.
Thank you, Glenn. Tanse. And that's the limit of my Cree. However, I'd like to thank the elders for being here. Thank you for coming. Thank the Grumdrug. Thank you for the breaking of the pipes this morning. And thank you to our special guests that came and honored us with your presence. The TLE board has been a real challenge. As you see in our teepee painting back there, and I believe Mr. Goodale talked a bit about the challenges, the mountains, and the creator that's part of that painting back there. And that painting was painted the dream of some of our old people from our community. And if we follow the red road of who we are as First Nations, we'll find that good place. And this is part of that good place. However, the challenges that we're going to run into are those mountains that Mr. Goodale talked about. However, as First Nations people, we have a special connection to the Creator. And if we honor the Creator as we go with those red dots, and you'll also notice that in the Indians that are around there, their heart is red also. So we have that connection. So as we come out and as the newcomers came to our land, we were like this, really right on there. And as we got civilized, we became like this. The Indian Act, the taking of our land. However, we stayed on that red road because of our elders. And if you follow the red road, when you look at the teepee, if you look at it, you see that story there. At the back, we're like this. But we're not beaten because our heart is still with the Creator. And as you come around here, I tell the little kids that, look at us. Oh, we're right on. Oh, we just went good dancing up and down. And we even have those rappers now. You see them? They're right up like this. Proud of who they are. Proud of who they are as First Nations people. And when I grew up in the 60s, there was no such thing as calling us treaty people. Now I hear the non-native leadership saying we are on treaty land, and that's so like that little Indian in the back there. Feathers up and right on. I'm part of that. We are part of that. The opportunities this 577 acres gives us, and our children and our grandchildren, I most likely wouldn't see that opportunity. But I know that with the leadership that we're bringing forward, they will do good things. Because of our older and elder people that are here today. And I thank you for coming. Thank you very much for allowing me this time. Thanks.
Awesome. Thank you. Good words, Ed. So before I get into before we do the exciting ribbon cutting, I just want to acknowledge a few more entities and groups. We have our own company called Musitawak Limnos Consulting, and I have Dr. Scott Barnes and some of the staff here, so I just want to give them acknowledgement, maybe a round of applause for them. I also see Corinne McNabb from the Tribal Council, TATC. Good to have them here. Let's give them a round of applause. And I see Lyle Daniels here from the Building and Trades here, so hopefully in the future we'll be working with them on something. And I believe some of our urban services staff are here, over here, and our post-secondary. So thanks for being here, everybody. And just to give a little bit of what's been happening before today, because there's some things on the internet sometimes that are a bit negative that say we're not doing what we say we're doing. But I can say that I've been right in the middle of it, And last year we held a number of consultations throughout Regina, Saskatoon, and the First Nation. And we actually engaged WLCS to do a preliminary concept plan on the property. And we did that to get an idea of what the people are thinking that the property could be used for. And so we have the plan. It's very preliminary. It was kind of a blue skying, like there's no limits. Have whatever you want. And you know, some people want a McDonald's, some want a amusement park, a place to ride horses, and you name it. They want a commercial center, they want a senior center, they want student housing, they want some businesses. And so we did that, and we got some input from as many people that came and showed up. And I think it's one of the first times a First Nation has actually consulted before buying the property. So I want to acknowledge the Chief and Council for allowing us to do that, and we continue to do that. Secondly, we met with a number of groups, including the city. We even had a meeting over here with Greg from the golf course. And anybody here from the golf course?
Right here.
Oh, there he is. Yeah, Daniel representing the golf course. Anyways, we had some meetings with them. We've already got an arrangement where they're working with some of the trees. Some of the nice trees around here have died, and so we've agreed to remove some of them and plant some new trees, and the golf course is working with us on doing that. The golf course also has a bit of an agreement with the city coming through the property, and so we've already started to talk about ensuring that agreement continues and gets enhanced. We've had some meetings with the RM. We actually attended their collaborative planning committee meeting, and it was kind of interesting to try to understand what the terms of reference of the committee is, what the intent of the committee is, and what the process is to arriving at making recommendations or decisions at that committee. And so I think we still have a lot of work to do with them as well. And of course our neighbors, one of the unique things about the property, it's got different aspects to it. So you heard from the city, there's a potential to hook up Wascana Parkway with Prince of Wales Drive right through the center of the property. And I think that's a great opportunity for both of us, for everybody, and pretty excited about that opportunity. Secondly, the second largest substation in Saskatchewan is right on the corner of the property. And so we've met with all three presidents of the education corridor, I call it, to establish a renewable energy partnership. That wouldn't it be great if the university, Sask Polytechnic, and FNUC could all get their power from renewable sources. And so we can also probably offer that to other companies and even the city itself. On Monday, we're traveling up to Saskatoon to have a meeting with a bunch of doctors to talk about buying property with them and providing power, renewable power, to the city of Saskatoon. And so there's many opportunities. Recently, the leadership team consisting of our chief and council, our board, GGDL board, and the TLE board, talked about a number of initiatives. And we recently finalized our strategic plan where we identified 4 key areas for our community to work towards. Obviously, the big one is property development and making sure that we are in the property game. For those that aren't aware, we're currently in the process of buying a building on 400 Broad Street. It's a 22,000 square foot building. It'll allow us to get into the game and have on-reserve property. There's a real high demand for on-reserve office space. If you compare Regina to Saskatoon, Saskatoon has just under 500,000 acres of office space on reserve, and they're continuing to expand. If you look in Regina, there's almost nowhere to have office space. Yesterday we had a meeting with the First Nations University of Canada, and we said we really need on-reserve office space. What's the chance of you guys doing that? And thankfully yesterday they said, yep, you're in. And so they'll be offering space in the future, and I don't want to take their announcement away or nothing, but we're after space. And the idea is to take advantage of our own rights, in particular our treaty rights. And I think this land is going to do some of that for us. So, you know, that's just a little bit of background that we continue to work towards. And probably the next step in all of this is creating an actual concept plan. So what we did is we did an RFP, and we had companies like Stantec, Walker Projects, Inertia, Urban Systems all give us proposals. And there were quite elaborate proposals that talk about spending $400 million to develop the property with the potential profits of around $40 to $140 million if you just developed it as a fee simple property. But of course, we want First Nation property. And so it's a little bit different. But I'm excited to get the plan started and work with the council, work with the TLE, work with the elders, work with the community to develop the property and get it moving. We like to think we're hitting the road running with many of the things we've done. We didn't wait till the property was bought. We did a lot of things before the property was even bought. So we own the property. This is our property. So let's give ourselves a big round of applause. We own this property. Cash, money. So it's ours. So welcome to Gordon's. So with that, I'd like to call upon our two eldest citizens from our community to help us with the cutting of the ribbon today. So maybe I'll call the chief and Ed to maybe stand with them.